Hi, this is Martin for Revelation Software, and welcome to another interesting and dynamic OpenInsight Quick Start Guide video. What I lie slightly, it might be interesting, but it's definitely not going to be dynamic. Today we're using PowerPoint to take a look at the user interface workspace and the tools that are contained within the tool. If you are the type of developer that likes to learn by example and dive straight into the tools, then feel free to skip this video and go to the next lessons during which we're actually going to be building some of these components. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the user interface workspace and how it fits within OpenInsight, then this is the video lesson for you, and stick with us. A good Windows application requires more than just a few forms with controls and menus like we've been working with. For instance, messages are used to inform users about such things as the status of the application. Quick help windows are used to provide the user with context-sensitive help, and pop-ups can provide users with lists of lookup data for selection. And OpenInsight's user interface workspace is where all of this functionality is created. And as I've said, during the next few lessons, we'll look at using this user interface workspace tool to build a simple message, a quick help window, and a pop-up window to enable our users to select a patient for editing in our clinic application. The interface itself is very simple. We have a menu bar which gives you access to the normal controls, so being able to open and save the entities and test run them. We've got the edit menu for cutting, copying and pasting, etc. The tools, there's the wizards, access to the wizards and designing the actual entities themselves, and there's also help. In the same way, the ribbon is giving you access to that same functionality. We've also then got the MDI client area, and this is where the designer tool child windows are displayed, so you could have multiple pop-ups that you're working on at any one time, or you could have a pop-up and a message that you're working on at the same time. The status bar area displays system messages from the active child window, and it also provides details of the MDI frame menu options as they're selected. And of course we've got a help button so that you can get access to help on the tool that you're actually working with at the time. Now, just to remind you, the user interface workspace provides a developer with three tools to build the three key components. The first of which is the pop-up designer, and this is a GUI front end for the pop-up function used for creating special windows that display data in a tabular format, and they can return data to controls or processes in the application. There's actually two tools in here. You've got the traditional pop-up designer, which enables you to have control and change everything that you want to, or you can start that process using the pop-up with wizard option, which will take you through starting that, and then it finishes with the traditional pop-up designer, so that you can then modify things further if you want to. We also have a message designer, and this is a GUI front end for the MSG function, and it's used to create message boxes that inform end users of error conditions, invalid inputs and other brief information. And we've also got the quick help designer, which is used to create special windows that display help text for end users. The message designer itself enables a developer to create messages for application users. It's fairly straightforward. These messages are often thought of as an extension to the help system, and they usually respond to user or system errors, report the status of the application, such as a system process is running, or any other information that the developer feels is relevant at that point. Messages are created and stored in the repository. They are therefore available for execution by the use of procedural and non-procedural event handlers, or from within code using the MSG function. Each message is assigned a modal status, giving the developer the control to force the user to acknowledge the message, and the modal states are window modal, system modal, application modal, or they can be modeless. More information can be found on this in the Programmer's Reference Manual in the section regarding MSG. Messages can also be used to request a variety of user responses. For instance, they could be used to return a Boolean value, so yes or no, a tri-state value, yes, no, or cancel, or they can be used to capture data entered by the user that in turn is used to govern the next steps in the currently running process. When planning a message, it's always a good idea to predefine some standards for your messages. And OpenInsight provides a set of icons to identify different message types. For instance, a stop sign can be used to indicate a problem, an I symbol for information, a question symbol for a question, etc. However, greater impact can be achieved by using different background and text colors. For instance, a catastrophic condition could use red text for high impact, and a simple warning could just use yellow, leaving green for information messages. Obviously, the use of color in this context is entirely up to the developer.